remember Street Fighter 2?
Don't you want to lose with honor, you witch doctor?
Let's talk about the anime that turned punches into philosophy. What if I told you Street Fighter 2 the animated movie was more than just a video game adaptation? What if it was a movie with lessons that taught you about life, balance, and who you were meant to be?
We're talking about fighters' pride and my reputation here.
Street Fighter 2 the animated movie is often remembered for its brutal, beautifully choreographed fight sequences, its edgy, gritty tone, and of course, maybe this. Every hit, every movement feels like a deliberate design choice meant to ground its larger-than-life characters who, up to this point, have only been represented as 16-bit sprites. And you can see everything, especially when compared to the likes of, say, Dragon Ball Z. The fights hit a lot harder than you expect. At first Hadouken, Street Fighter 2 the animated movie is every bit the globe-trotting action-adventure its live-action counterpart wasn't. And even more surprisingly, every character in the 1994 roster was featured and cleverly incorporated into the story. And in the English dub, it even features a young Bryan Cranston playing Fei Long.
Let's see how well you do against a fighter like me.
Goddamn right.
So, why do I love this movie so much? A movie called Street Fighter is very easy to dismiss as just a bunch of people fighting, well, on the streets.
You're getting dropped.
Nice kick. I'm Captain Guile, Air Force.
And unlike its live-action counterpart, this movie takes itself seriously, letting deeper themes take root. The movie works because its emotional core is centered around the very fundamentals of martial arts philosophy, and that's where this movie actually resonates. Our poster boy Ryu is literally walking around in a karate gi, and his relationship to Ken, that's their shared past and connection, reveals a duality that uncovers the true value of martial arts. But before we can understand what values martial arts champions, we actually have to understand what martial arts really is about. For the uninitiated, people often think of martial arts as... it's often very superficial. It can come across as maybe a little silly, or so violent it's off-putting. But those who practice know there's so much more to it. Generally speaking, martial arts are codified systems of combat and self-defense practices, often rooted in cultural, philosophical, and spiritual traditions.
Don't think, feel. It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory.
Martial arts, they don't just teach people how to fight, they also teach people when not to fight.
You can call it the art of fighting without fighting.
And more importantly, no matter which martial art you choose, it is rooted in discipline, control, respect, and self-improvement. Which brings us back to Ryu. In Street Fighter 2 the animated movie, Ryu is the main protagonist, and his arc is very much rooted in these principles. In fact, much of the plot is centered around Ryu, whether he's present or not. The film begins with a dramatic retelling of the climactic final battle between Ryu and Sagat, the reigning Muay Thai champ and final boss of the original Street Fighter game. You know, the one no one played. There's no dialogue. It's a pure expression of what this world values. Mastery, strength, spirit. The film takes place years later. The crime syndicate Shadow Law, or Lu depending on who you ask,
Shadow Lao.
led by the Nazi-like M. Bison, who is recruiting, brainwashing, or eliminating the best Street Fighters from around the world to expand their global influence.
Shadow Law's after you.
Yahoo! I am honored.
His main target is Ryu.
Any man strong enough to beat the crap out of Sagat is a man I want found.
Meanwhile, Interpol agent Chun-Li and US Captain Guile are hot on Bison's trail.
Bison's ass is mine.
Ryu journeys through Southeast Asia, encountering other fighters and completely unaware of Shadow Law's attempts to capture him.
What's this Shadow Law? You don't know? Nope.
Meanwhile, Ken, at the height of his success, is looking to settle a score with Ryu.
Nobody alive has been good enough to beat me yet. Except Ryu.
Ryu, the vagabond who dropped off the earth. You compare him to me?
And here's where the movie reveals its deeper purpose. What Street Fighter II the animated movie does so well is deliver a story that encapsulates the true goal of any martial art. Self-mastery through the balance of discipline and passion. Self-mastery is a lifelong pursuit of control of one's mind, body, and emotions. It means seeking inner balance, clarity, and focus. Not just being strong in combat, but calm under pressure, respectful of opponents, and deeply aware of your own limits. Ryu is therefore the embodiment of discipline. He's quiet and introverted. His attacks are calculated and efficient. He's chosen a life of solitude and spiritual training, wandering the world to grow in peace. I mean, a man who free solos cliffs in his spare time is probably really serious about it. His dedication to self-mastery keeps his strength aligned with purpose. Ken, by contrast, is the embodiment of passion. His fighting style is flashier, it's more aggressive. He thrives in the spotlight.
When you ask for something, you might get it!
But behind the championships and trophies, Ken is actually restless.
I guess you can put another notch on your gun, cowboy.
Without Ryu, he has no goal. He tries to fill that void with anything that'll make him feel like he's enough.
Eliza, let's get married.
Huh?
But without spiritual growth, nothing is gonna stick. That lack of grounding actually makes him feel very vulnerable.
Ryu, I'm getting tired of waiting.
That's what Bison is trying to exploit.
Ah! What is going on?
Greetings, Mr. Masters.
Excuse me, but who the hell are you?
I am Bison.
Bison is the antithesis of martial arts. He wants power for power's sake. He's fueled by the fictional psycho power, a force born of fear, anger, and hatred. It's martial arts stripped of soul. It's just violence for the sake of violence.
Hey, what kind of a punch do you call that?
Your pathetic efforts are futile against my psycho power.
Psycho power?
It's martial arts without balance. He represents the commodification of power. Fighters are reduced to tools, manipulated, then discarded.
You worthless pile of excrement.
Oh, and he's dressed like a fascist to make sure we get the message. The film takes its time and builds to Ryu and Ken's eventual reunion, illustrated by flashbacks that reinforce their deep connection. And despite Bison's brainwashing, when Ryu and Ken finally meet in the third act, Ryu reaches Ken not through force, but with memory.
Take a good long look at me, damn it! Come on, this is a real fight! Tell me who I am!
And it's only through reconnecting with his spiritual roots that Ken is literally able to stand up again.
Ken, what do you see beyond your fist? My fate.
And that's why I think the final battle works so well. You have Ryu, who's the disciplined soul, you have Ken, that's the passionate heart, and together they cancel out Bison's hollow power.
I'll fight you on your own level! Come on!
That final clash is insane. But it's not just about fists. It's about two competing, diametrically opposed ideologies in decisive conflict.
Ken, do it now! Shut up! Ken!
Let's finish this!
And in the end, with Bison defeated, Ryu and Ken walk separate paths.
Do you want to ride? Rather walk.
But they're now parallel. Both now understand what it means to fight with purpose. But then there's the ending. You have Ryu walking alone once more as the credits rolls. And then suddenly he's confronted by Bison in a semi-truck. And without flinching, Ryu leaps into battle. It's actually like super random and really hilarious, but there's actually a deeper meaning behind it. And I think it's kind of like the perfect note to end on. In a world where evil will persist, a true martial artist will meet the threat head on. That's why we train in martial arts. It's to be ready for that decisive moment. Street Fighter II, the animated movie, was a gateway for me. As a kid, it was my first glimpse into something that was deeper than just games. As an adult, after years of martial arts practice, it holds even greater meaning to me. In the end, this film isn't just about warriors fighting each other. It's about fighting what's within them. A fight between ego and humility, between chaos and control, between false strength and the real thing. And the journey, well, that never ends. The fight continues, and the path to self-mastery is a road worth taking, even if you have to walk it alone.